Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Rocket content on this channel, so hit that sub button if that interests you. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Houston Rockets offseason. I guess just kind of condensing all thoughts, because earlier today on my NBA show, my daily live NBA show, link in bio, we had my boy Swaggy on, other Houston Rocket YouTuber, and all three of us were in agreement that the Houston Rockets had a phenomenal offseason. I think Serial graded it like an A. I think Swaggy went A+. I went A-, and it just seems to be like this universal A grade. My only contingency, and this isn't even a contingency, is that like I use Jeremy Grant trade as an example, where they essentially flipped Jeremy Grant, the Pistons, for Jalen Duren, where we did the same thing with Christian Wood. I think Wood's better than Grant. I guess he's not as cemented as Grant is, though, so there's that. But, I mean, we got Ty. I'm not complaining with Ty one bit. I would imagine long-term he will be a starting point guard in the NBA. I don't know if he'll be anything all that crazy. Maybe like a more, like he gives me like a blend of like Tyus Jones, who's like by far the best backup point guard in the league, in my opinion. He should be a starter. And like Jalen Brunson. I feel like Ty probably falls somewhere in between. Brunson without Luka, how's that? Somewhere in between there, I think, is like a safe, solid career for Ty Washington. Although, yeah, I'm not trying to like limit him in any way, shape, or form. So maybe that wasn't the best 2-point guard examples. But we came away all together with Jabari, Tari Eason, and Ty Washington. I think that as far as a draft goes, I would say it's an A, and I think it has a fat amount of potential to get to A+. I think it just kind of depends on the development and progression of our three rookies. Like, for example, last year's draft with Jalen Green, Şengün, Garuba, and Christopher, like, that was an A as well. But Jalen Green looks great, Şengün looks great, Christopher looks amazing as well. But Garuba is kind of the log holding that down, maybe like half a grade from being a perfect A+. Because if Garuba was playing like the first three, it's very, very, very clear after year one that was an A+ draft. So that was a lot of details that probably didn't need to be said, but you get my point here. We came away with phenomenal, especially defensive players, and all three of these guys, I would imagine, Ty's probably the least NBA ready, but I still think to some capacity he is NBA ready and he will see NBA minutes. I have a really hard time imagining that they're just going to throw Ty down in the G League or throw him at, the 15th roster spot and give him no minutes ever all season. It's just not going to happen. So outside of that, let's revisit the Christian Wood trade, because we got Boban. Obviously the Houston Rockets are lacking a little bit of size, right? Usman Garuba, Şengün, Bruno, which, by the way, I think Bruno is a much better move than Boban. People keep saying, like, Boban's going to stay for media purposes. Like, come on, bro. Come on. No way. Houston's fourth biggest city in the United States. I don't think that they need to build up their fan appeal by keeping Boban. But, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they do keep Boban for more height rather than, like, they're not keeping him just because he's a fan favorite, right? Like, that should be pretty obvious. But anyways, we got Boban. We got OG Rocket Sterling Brown coming off, like, not the best season. If you remember 2 years ago when the Rockets were tanking in the year we traded Harden, Sterling Brown was like one of our best three-point shooters, and we essentially had to make this decision between David Waba and Sterling Brown. They decided to go with David Waba. I genuinely, I think both would have been fine. David's going to be on the roster next season. He's a very important defensive guy. Like, you saw plenty of times this past season how, like, you'd see a disastrous first half defensively, and then you'd see maybe the sub-in of David for Jay Sean. So David will be on this roster next year. But as far as Boban, Sterling, and Trey Burke go, I doubt any three of those guys play. I doubt any three of those guys see meaningful minutes. However, take what I just said with a grain of salt, because I said the same exact thing about Dennis Schroeder last year when we acquired him in the Daniel Tice trade. So, like, I'm making this I'm in my mom's basement, right? Like, I'm not the Rockets GMs or a coach, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, 100%. I feel like that's obvious. This video feels, it feels goofy so far. It feels kind of a little bit goofy. So, the Christian Wood trade, yeah, going from Wiseman and Kuminga, or like Kuminga and Moody and a first for Christian Wood. Going from like Rocket and Warrior possible trade propositions. If you guys remember this, like at the start, like 1 year ago. 1 year ago, if you said Kuminga and Moody for Christian Wood, it really wasn't that crazy at all. Now if you say that, it's like, yeah, maybe it's not necessarily crazy, but it's pretty wild. Like, Golden State's, they're all set. Maybe if they lost in the NBA Finals, that would be more enticing to them, but they just won it all. So, unfortunately, we didn't get Kuminga, we didn't get Moody, but we did get a first-round pick that resulted in Ty Washington, and I'm hopeful for Ty's career, so I don't think that's really going to end up hurting him. I want to say one more thing, because that's really the offseason, right? We got, Jae'Sean Tate. We got Jae'Sean Tate on one of the best deals in the entire offseason. Like, we're paying Jay barely over $7 million for the next 3 seasons, and as I mentioned as much as I can, and I'm sorry if it becomes annoying, but it's still not ingrained into your guys' brains yet, which makes sense because it's a very complicating matter. Once the CBA goes into effect, we'll go into lockdown at the start of next year. I guarantee you we will be locked down and we will miss basketball games. The year after that, you're going to see salaries jump monumentally, just like we did in 2016. If you guys want a whole video on this, let me know, because I would love to do a deep dive, especially how it pertains to the Houston Rockets. But money's going up, all right? Money's going up. So that's why if Kevin Porter Jr. improves next season and we can extend this man for like 20 a year, yeah, I'm taking that. I'll use another example. Jalen Brunson, 4 years, $100 million contract. Yeah, he's 21-7 without Luka Doncic, but we haven't seen him be the point guard of his own team. So there's like, risks, worry, whatever. I guarantee you, first off, because Jalen Brunson is a good basketball player, I guarantee you by the end of his 4-year contract, it will be a steal. $25 million for Jalen Brunson, you'll hear that, you'll be like, that's a good contract. You're not going to be like, whoa. You'd be like, that's a good contract. Kevin Porter Jr., same thing. I'm not saying we need to go out and extend this man 4 years, $80 million. I'm not even saying we have to extend him. I'm just saying keep an open mind to money, because, like I said, it's going to rise exponentially. So the fact we were able to get Jae'Sean Tate for the next 3 years, $7 million, he's an NBA starter. Yeah, he's not, maybe he isn't going to be our starter next year because he's not the best three-point shooter, but like, he's a guy you want to have. He's like a Josh Hart, like a jack of all trades. So that's it for today, man. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I really want to touch on real quick, because they I'll just read the sentence. Fortifying head coach Stephen Silas' staff with Lionel Hollins, Mohamed Abdefarata, I apologize so much, and Mike Batiste, bro, I can't say a name for the life of me. It was a strong move as well. So I want to touch on, I think Stephen Silas is, bro, he had like literally, Stephen Silas with Luka had the most efficient offense in the NBA history of the NBA. Stephen Silas was behind it. So I have a very open mind with Stephen Silas. As far as personal relations go with the players, Silas is the guy. But he runs complex schemes. He asks a lot from his players. It's a process. It's a process. It's not going to happen in the blink of an eye. It's a process. So that's it for today, man. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily Houston Rockets content. I'll catch you cats later. Drop some comments down below. Peace.